Okay, Manchester United kicked off the Premier League on Friday, and there was a lot of intrigue coming into this one, as there are with every team, but Man United are, of course, the best team. Well, not the best team, definitely not the best team, but the biggest team in England, and one of the biggest in the world. And they were coming into this one, quite positive actually, which they haven't for many seasons. Came in obviously into this game just winning the FA Cup, and some really positive signings. De Ligt, Mazraoui, is his name Yoro, Xerxes of course, who we'll talk about in a bit. And did I say De Ligt? Yeah, De Ligt. Some good names, some good players, and players I think we all think will be good for Manchester United. And I do have to start with Mazraoui because I was incredibly impressed with him the other day. I hadn't really watched him before, not like looking at him, seeing how he's going to do. But yeah, I thought he performed really well. It was kind of a safe debut for him, but that's always a good thing. So when he was on the ball, firstly, I think he just carried the ball really well. Didn't ever really lose it, looked quick, and wasn't scared to run forward with the ball. I did see a take on Twitter that said he didn't really do much, but that isn't true because, like I just mentioned, carried the ball really well. Another thing I liked is that he didn't mind using his left foot. So no matter what angle the ball was at, if it was an awkward angle, he received the ball, or if there was a tough pass, he would just go back with his left foot. And I know it sounds simple, but many players don't do that. A Kieran Trippier will do anything to avoid using his left foot. So I like that he didn't look awkward on the ball. Another thing was the defending, the main thing. Defensively, extremely sound. Now, I don't use stats like ever, but I did see an interesting graphic from the Twitter account Chun Hang, which basically said that, well, it shows them, I don't know how to say his first name, that Mazraoui had the most balls recovered, and I wouldn't be telling you this stat unless I actually noticed that myself. His interceptions, winning the ball, aggressiveness was all there on Friday night, and that's why I'm using this stat, because I feel like the statistic matches the eye test with this one. So yeah, defensively really good. Obviously have to talk about that tackle he made on Alex Iwobi as well, which was crucial because Adama Traore just killed Lisandro Martinez, and Mazraoui was there with the defensive nous. Perfect timing on the tackle to deny Alex Iwobi a goal-scoring opportunity. Okay, now the other positive was from a player that was a big positive 2 seasons ago. Last year, he was getting called to retire by Jamie Carragher. We have to talk about Casemiro in this game because I actually think this was nearly a 10 out of 10 performance. There was like the odd time where you thought, wrong decision, but on the ball, so impressive this game. When you think he's a CDM and he's making passes that Bruno Fernandes would be proud of making. There was one cross that was a Kevin De Bruyne type cross. Someone laid it off and he was in that Kevin De Bruyne Trent position, and first time with his right foot, beautiful cross. And they didn't score from it, but it was a good chance. And the other one was he passed it across the floor, like first time. Bruno had a really good chance to score. He did miss, but the pass from Casemiro, like exceptional. They should have had 3 assists in this game, Casemiro. And I was just talking to one of my Man United mates, should be watching this video. And he obviously mentioned Ugarte joining Manchester United. And yeah, I can see that partnering with Casemiro. Obviously the legs still are not there from Casemiro, although he does look in better shape than he did last year. But I think that Ugarte Casemiro, when you think of how good Casemiro is on the ball, which I think has always been a little underrated, and he showed in this game, how good he is on the ball. pairing him up with Ugarte, who's more of a runner, engine type, probably more of a Kante type, despite Kante obviously being very good on the ball as well. Not comparing him with Kante, I'm just saying he's more of that Kante type. I think that would be a good midfield partnership for Man United. If Casemiro continues that form, obviously it could just be because of the first game, but he has a proven track record of being an excellent ball-playing midfielder. Now, I can't go into the super intricacies of pressing football. I'm not Pep Guardiola, but there was just undoubtedly improvements in Man United's pressing. It was so much more difficult for Fulham to pass out from the back than it was for any team who played Man United last season. They were in numbers, usually in like threes. Obviously, Mason Mount, Bruno leading the charge, and then you had Rashford, who was pressed in as well. Mainu, yeah, they looked really good. And what I just thought was, when Spurs play Man United, it will be much more difficult to play them this year than it was last year. It was organised, like I said, in threes. So many times I just looked at it and thought, yeah, Fulham have to clear this. Whereas last year, I would have just seen a massive gap in the midfield, which there were a few times. We'll get into that again later on in the video. It was more so the shape of the front three, I think, than the midfield. The midfield did better. There weren't as big gaps, but it was the shape of the first players going to press, I think, that made it more difficult for Fulham to pass out the back. And, well, a lot of times were like seriously under pressure and had to clear the ball. Xerxes came on, made an impact, didn't he? That finish was good, very good. If he scores more goals like that, that finish actually looks better than it was, becomes better. But if he doesn't, that finish does become a little bit more hopeful. But I believe the first to be correct. I do think it was a really good finish, and that he truly, obviously meant it. Brought him on 0-0, even game. And when you can bring on Xerxes and Garnacho, two of the most exciting young attackers in the world, when it's an even game, 0-0, I think that's a real positive for Manchester United. Not just that, Garnacho also should have scored. Xerxes scored. Garnacho missed an open goal in the last minute of the game. And in a different world, his two substitutes, his two exciting young players, both score. And speaking of Xerxes, what I liked actually, of course the goal was good. It was actually what happened after the goal, and you could see his confidence raise a level. So he was just starting to drop deep more and more, but not in a bad way, because it was working, and you could see how good he was at that. His link-up play was literally faultless, basically. And even in the goal, his link-up play was a huge part of him scoring, because he dropped deep, received it, back to the midfielder, switched it, and then he runs into the box and scores. And he did say he was a 9.5, and I think it's fair to say he proved that in this game. Now, there were positives for Man United. Big positives. Everything was improved, basically. The pressing, the substitutions, the depth. Bringing De Ligt on, getting his debut. Mazraoui performing really well. Casemiro. Even Harry Maguire having a fantastic game. However, the title says Man United were good. Kind of. If we're being totally honest, Fulham could have won this game. Maybe they say should have. Because they had numerous times where they had attackers that outnumbered Man United's defenders. And for Premier League footballers, should have done better. 2v1 for Pereira. Such an easy chance to score. Harry Maguire's the only defender back. He's not gonna catch up after Pereira makes the through ball, and he gives it straight to Harry Maguire, and it's a chance Fulham will be, devastated that they didn't capitalise on. And for some reason, Andreas Pereira is the worst player in the world when he plays at Old Trafford. The other one was Adama Traore. Fulham had a 3-on-2 against Man United. Adama Traore, all he had to do was keep on running, wait till the defender came, and then lay it off. He didn't. He messed up the pass. It was a bit too behind the Fulham player, but they still actually had a chance from it, still didn't capitalise. So Fulham could have very easily scored 2 goals. Again, I've highlighted the midfield here because there were times where the midfield did get cut open, and Man United got to be the only team I see in the Premier League where players consistently, from all 20 teams in the league, make a 40-yard run consistently against them. It is still rather easy to break that midfield. Not as easy, because I think the pressing from the forwards was much better this game, but it still did happen. So the one case I have here was Kenny Tete. Now this is Kenny Tete, by the way. So I have a screenshot here, 4 screenshots. This is the first one. First thing you're thinking is, well, if Kenny Tete beats this man here, look how much room is there. Now, what is happening here? I don't get it. Why is there so much room? Okay, so he does beat him, obviously, and now he's running. And this is where you have Man United's team literally split in 2 parts, like last year. I mean, where is the midfield? What is going on here? And the third one, Tete's still running. He's lost his man now. There's literally no one near him. And he then gets a shot off edge of the box. A good shot and a good save from Andre Onana. That is unacceptable, isn't it? And I'm pretty certain United won't get top 4 if that does keep happening. Some other things, Rashford, I still don't think Rashford looked anywhere near his best. He didn't play bad, but this is Rashford. This is one of the most talented players in the league. He literally scored 30 goals a few years ago. He still doesn't look that same player. There was a moment in the first half where Rashford could have crossed it. All it was a low cross. He didn't execute it. And I just thought, yeah, you need to be making those passes if you're going to be world class, basically. Mason Mount was the other player on here. I get it, he pressed all right. There was actually a moment in the first half where he didn't. It was quite a niche moment in the game, so I can't even remember what moment it was. But he did press like kind of on his own, really unintelligently, which left a big gap. But apart from that, pressed pretty well. And yeah, just not enough though on the ball for the player he was at Chelsea. Like a Champions League winner, and he was like second best player in that entire team. It's just not enough, is it, for what Man United need at the moment. And the last thing is Andre Onana. Now, he didn't make any blunders this game, which in itself is a decent game for Andre Onana. But, man, why does he keep kicking it out for a throw-in? This is supposed to be one of the better keepers in the league at his feet. He's supposed to be elite at this, I got told, when he joined from Inter Milan. Yet, his long passing, he never makes it. He always kicks it out from a throw-in. He made 2 out of his 9 long passes. And they're not just like going just about missing. He's literally kicking them out, just giving the other team possession. When the whole point Man United signed him was to keep possession. And again, I wouldn't even use the 2 out of 9 statistic because I hate stats. But because I noticed it myself, that's why I'm mentioning it. Man United looked alright. They looked a little improved on last year. The pressing looked better. The shape looked better. You can't write off that shape might change. It was the first game. They were at home. By game week 15, will it still remain that consistently good? I'm not sure. There were positives, like I've mentioned, Mazraoui. Do I look forward to my team Spurs? Son against Mazraoui? Not really. Casemiro, if he keeps playing like that, Man United will be a decent team. Obviously, you had Amad Diallo and Mainu in the team as well. They both performed, I thought, well. Amad had his moments. Kobe Mainu was just quality throughout the entire game. But you've got 2 superstars there, haven't you? It looks like, anyway. Definitely Kobe Mainu. So yeah, the fullbacks, positives. The defence looked better. The pressing looked better. The shape looked better. The intensity looked better. Lisandro Martinez was back. But like I mentioned, there are still glaring issues in this team. And I do think, all these positives were saying, and they still nearly lost to a weakened Fulham side who just lost Polinia and Tosin Adarabioyo. I don't know how to say his name. So, yeah, not all good, but better. And I did actually watch Kill Tony the other day. I've been watching a lot of Kill Tony. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like X Factor, but for comedians. You have like judges, kind of ish. It's sort of similar. It's the closest thing I can think of anyway to compare it to. And then obviously you have these new stand-up comedians aspiring, and they have a minute to do their best. Now, Shane Gillis was one of the judges on the one that I watched, and the stand-up comedian, aspiring stand-up comedian, said he had only done one before. And then Shane Gillis said, how did he think it went? And the aspiring stand-up comedian said, better than last time. And then Shane Gillis replied, well, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can do. And if you keep doing that, you'll be good in the end. So, yeah, positives for Man United is they're improving. They are improving. You can definitely see that with your eyes. So, yeah, Man United look improved, tougher. Good, maybe.